Hitler and the Nazis were preparing for the coming of a new age. Now, as I previously mentioned, Blavatsky, the Russian mysticist, travelled to Tibet to study Buddhist priests. In her book, The Secret Doctrine, Blavatsky tells of how she was shown an ancient occultic hidden text in which the secrets of the universe and the future course of human history were revealed. Within this secret doctrine, which was published in 1888, Blavatsky describes how the universe has fallen from pure spirit to darkness, chaos and base matter. She talks of how soon it will rise again to reach the pinnacle of spirituality. Blavatsky talks of how she gained this knowledge from the study of the 7 symbols which make up the seal of the Theosophical Society. The symbol to which she believed was the most important of these was the swastika. In Tibetan mythology, the swastika is the sign of Agni, god of the sun, fire and creation. Whether clockwise or anti-clockwise, it is the symbol also of good fortune. Blavatsky wrote how each cycle of creation was associated with the 7 stages of human evolution, which she calls root races. She named the new root race, which means, by the way, from matter to spirit, Aryan, and named the swastika as the symbol of the Aryan. At the 1934 Nuremberg rally, there was a mystical theme, which was the triumph of the will. Homage was paid at the rally to one of the fundamental dogmas of the swastika, pure will, being the force by which the spirit of the Aryan race overcame the darkness and chaos. Will is of course the same philosophy as Aleister Crowley, do what thou will should be the whole of the law. Crowley was of course also a protagonist for spiritual evolution through will. We'll return to the subject of Crowley in good time, but first I just want to point out a few things regarding Hitler. On the 9th of November 1923, so another 9/11 date, the National Socialist Workers' Party, led by Hitler, attempted to overthrow the government of Bavaria, which is the place where the Illuminati were founded. The attempt was thwarted and 16 were killed, including the stormtrooper marching beside Hitler. Amongst all the chaos, blood ended up on the flag, and from that day onwards it became known as the Blood Flag. This blood flag became sacred to the Nazis, and all new party banners were required to come into contact with the blood flag to be consecrated. What is also interesting is the second symbol for the black sun, which features 2 crosses, the double cross, possibly a foretelling of this 2012 sun-black sun alignment. Regarding the 2012 alignment, another symbol that depicts this occurrence is the black feathered sun, which is a Plains Indian symbol, with both inward and outward pointing feathers out to the circumference and into the centre. It combines sun symbols with the eagle. This suggests that the feathered serpent Quetzalcoatl could be a symbol of this black sun alignment. After all, he was prophesied to return, so why not? And all the symbols certainly seem to match up to this event. Since the eagle of Nazi Germany stood atop the swastika, the two combined could quite easily be a feathered black sun, and therefore the dawning of the new age, out with the old and in with the new, so to speak. Now that we have attributed the Nazi eagle to the new age evolution and examined all that seems relevant to our cause, we can return to the dollar bill and further examine these symbols, their meanings and the relation to the events of 9/11. There remains still a little history to be explored on the eagle with regards to Aleister Crowley, so with that in mind, what more is there to say on this eagle or phoenix? We know that Crowley sought to bring about the Ion of Horus, and that the extra-dimensional being, Aiwass, dictated the Book of the Law to Crowley in Cairo, Egypt. Aiwass and Eowas, the 13th runestone of Death Rebirth, share this symbol in common. Aiwass, the minister of Horpakrat, or in other words, Horus, conquering lord of the new Ion. Here is a quote from the Book of the Law pertaining to Horus. Now let it first be understood that I am God of war and vengeance. I shall deal hardly with them. I will give you a war machine, and with it ye shall smite the people, and none shall stand before you. Lurk, draw upon them. This is the law of the battle of conquest. Thus shall my worship be about my secret house. And then in 1379 it continues, mercy let be off, damn them who pity, kill and torture, spare not, be upon them, argue not, convert not, talk not, overmuch them that seek to entrap thee, to overthrow thee, them attack without pity or quarter, and destroy them utterly, swift as the trodden serpent, Turn and strike, be thou deadlier than he, drag down their souls to awful torment, laugh at their fear, spit upon them. Some of these writings can be attributed to the new Ion, in fact I'd say most. For instance, thus shall my worship be about secret house. It seems to be a reference to the houses of the zodiac, Horus being the sun. Furthermore, in the Book of the Law, we have this quote: "With my hawk's head I peck at the eyes of Jesus as he hangs upon the cross, and there is no law beyond do what thou will." I believe this quote is in reference to the coming new age of Aquarius, Jesus representing the house of Pisces, fisher of men, the hawk's head being Horus, if you can attribute this hawk's head to Kabbalistic magic. And that is, of course, if you can accept a hawk's head, then an eagle's head is interchangeable. It is the symbol for the active water element. So with this in mind, it can be perceived as the age of Aquarius, the active water element replacing the age of Pisces, symbolised by Jesus. Of course, this is open to interpretation. Another quote from the Book of the Law reads, "The new age of Horus will soon begin, but first earth must bathe in blood. I was messenger of Horus." Obviously not much interpretation needed here then. Furthermore it reads, "Let my servants be few and secret, they shall reign over the many and the known, and there should be a world war." It is established fact that Crowley bragged of meeting Hitler during the Second World War. Crowley, possibly working for MI5, worked at a Nazi propaganda mill, spouting deliberately far-fetched anti-British rhetoric. Few like to acknowledge any direct relationship between Crowley and Hitler, but such things should surely be considered, given certain occultic similarities shared by the two, such as "I was" in the Book of the Law, referring to the need for war and bloodshed before the new Ion could come to pass. Well, Hitler believed that worldwide destruction was needed to pave the way for a new evolutionary step for mankind, and he believed in supermen. One quote from Hitler: "The new man is living amongst us now. He is here. I have seen the new man. He is intrepid and cruel, and I was afraid of him." Crowley also have associations with superhuman intelligences like I was, and claimed affiliation through I was with what he referred to as the secret chiefs who rule over the destiny of mankind. These superhuman intelligences also require total destruction and death to usher in the new so-called evolutionary step in consciousness and the new Ion. Both men were believers in spiritual evolution via will, so there are certainly profound similarities. Crowley sent Hitler a copy of Liber of Eliges, or the Book of the Law, and it seems highly likely, based on his demonic occult beliefs and similar almost to a T goals, that he read the book and gained inspiration from its dark teachings. Of course, the new Ion of Horus and Hitler's worship of Nordic god Odin, who is nothing more than Horus repackaged, could indeed raise eyebrows. And as far as Aleister Crowley goes, we will touch more on what the Book of the Law has to offer in due time, but for now we'll have a quick look at what some of the other symbols on the dollar. For instance, the Great Seal speaks for itself, and when a seal of Solomon, which is also above the eagle's head, is superimposed over the top, the word Mason is revealed. In each corner of the dollar bill is the number 1, meaning we have 1111, a number that shows up time and time again on 9/11 and is associated with 2012 phenomena. There's much to be considered in the Book of the Law, such as these quotes: 11 is the number of all those who are of us. Let my servants be few and secret, they shall reign over the many, being just a few of these statements. But the creepiest of all these is this prophetic declaration in verse 371. "How ye twin warriors about the pillars of the world, for your time is nigh at hand." Now, coming from a book that seeks to usher in a new Ion, this is somewhat disturbing and a little too close to what took place on 9/11 to discount as mere coincidence. What's more, in verse 373 it says, "Pace the sheets from right to left and from top to bottom, and then behold." Could it be possible that this is some kind of reference to the folding of the money, showing the sequential collapse of the towers? Folding the money in this way does produce this effect, so it is far from inconceivable. What's more, by folding the $1 bill in this manner, the eagle merges with the pyramid. Keep in mind that the eagle and the pyramid, although separate on the dollar bill, are known as the Great Seal. Not the Great Seals, the Great Seal. It is not plural, therefore the two are in fact one. Merging the eagle and the pyramid is no stretch of the imagination by any means. So what exactly is the relevance of the eagle merging with the pyramid? Well, we know that the eagle, specifically the eagle's head, is a symbol of the active water element, and we know that the eagle also may be in all likelihood representative of the phoenix bird of death rebirth, which is also associated with Horus. Since the pyramid with its capstone is a symbol of illumination, and the chief cornerstone specifically, how should we interpret the merging of the eagle with the pyramid? In my view, it is the age of Horus taking its place at the tip of the pyramid and replacing the old age with the new age. With my hawk's head, I peck at the eyes of Jesus as he hangs upon the cross. And with this quote in mind, remember that the chief cornerstone is Jesus, and so it represents Christ dying and being reborn, in this sense as Horus. While this is one interpretation, the pyramid or triangle represents the passive water element. Since we already know that the eagle's head is the active water element, we have the merging of active and passive water elements. In other words, polarity. Positive and negative. However, this only applies when the triangle is inverted, and this can be achieved by placing the sill together the opposite way, which leaves you with the eagle's head above and the inverted triangle below. As for the first image of the eagle crashing headfirst into the pyramid, it is the equivalent of the Tower Tarot card, with the eagle taking the place of the lightning while the pyramid represents the tower. This tarot card is an emotional waterfall designed to bring about change via destruction of false constructs built on lies, and it embodies both active lightning and passive tower forces. The dollar bill, and more specifically the Great Seal, is what is known in magic circles as a talisman. So, what exactly is a talisman? Well, who better to ask than Aleister Crowley? According to Crowley, a talisman is a magic figure charged with the force which it is intended to represent. Furthermore, according to Israel Regardie, who was Crowley's secretary and one of the 20th century's most significant occultists, a talisman is a storehouse of some particular kind of energy, the kind that is needed to accomplish the task for which you have constructed it. This talisman was designed by a Golden Dawn magician. It symbolises the active water element and the passive. Its purpose is to increase positive emotions and personal pleasure. The talisman incorporates the exact same elements as the talisman on the dollar bill, which is designed in the model of the talismans of King Solomon. Freemasonry is based on the magic of King Solomon and Solomon's Temple, and it was Freemasons who designed the Great Seal. Freemasons would have been well versed in the construction of charging of talismans. The Solomon-style talisman is two circles connected by a strip. Solomon would use Hebrew phrases and Latin phrases on his seals to invoke specific higher beings or powers. Latin is used on the dollar bill. Prius unum relates to setting our souls ablaze, and out of many making one. Annuit Sueptus can be translated as a request for aid, and is from the Latin poet Virgil. It is an invocation of Jupiter. Novus Ordo Seclorum is also from Virgil, and it means the order of the ages. The poem has been interpreted as the second coming of Christ to judge the world. Christ can of course be Christ consciousness, depending on personal outlook. On the seal of the two circles are connected by a strip, embroidered with the word one and in God we trust. Although the phrase was on a coin before Crowley was born, he used it in the poem called Hymn to America, even further adding to Crowley dollar bill anomalies.